topic tonight is formal message traffic. Of those of you that have received CPR training over the years, I would hazard a guess that very few of you have actually had to use it in real life, although the majority of people that receive CPR training rarely, if ever, put that training to use. I think most people would agree that it is an important skill to have and practice regularly. Similarly, we rarely pass formal message traffic in this area. Nevertheless, it is still a crucial skill to have and should be practiced regularly. Personally, I don't think we practice it enough. Most people think it is a simple thing to read a message, but to do it at a comfortable pace for the receiver with proper phonetics and pro words in a stressful moment can be difficult. Slide 2. This training has been adapted from similar training given on this net in January of 2018 by Todd and 7TMS, which was based on training from March 2017 by Kevin, KF7BRO. It's always good to have a refresher. Most of the traffic that we pass during weekly nets is routine or informal. In other words, it is not written. It is not important. It's pertinent only in the moment or tactical in nature. Details, while sometimes important, are often not critical. During an emergency, however, there will be times when the messages we pass be relayed verbatim, and getting the details right is crucial. This traffic is referred to as formal message traffic, and there are specific principles we need to follow. In this training, we will review those principles, namely 1. Using an established message format, 2. Ensuring that information is copied without errors, and 3. Avoiding unnecessary, graphic, or personal details. Slide 3. There are 2 formal message formats commonly used in radio communication, the ARRL radiogram and the ICS-213 form. On the slide, the ARRL form is shown on the left and the top half of the ICS-213 form on the right. The ARRL radiogram fits on half a sheet of paper, while the ICS-213 requires a full sheet. Many organizations will modify the forms to suit their individual needs, but variations generally have the same basic layout and format. The ICS-213 form can be found on the ERC website under Resources and Formal Message Traffic. The ICS-213 has been chosen as the official ERC formal message form. Each operator should maintain a small supply of these forms, ideally on an inexpensive clipboard, which will provide a reliable writing service when operations need to go portable or mobile. If you have copies of the ICS-213 form, you may want to get them out for tonight's training. You may find them useful for practice in just a moment. Let's now proceed to slide 4 for details on the ICS-213 form. This form may seem a little intimidating at first, but upon closer examination, you'll notice that it is very similar to an email message. On the top half of the form, you will see several information fields. They are as follows. 1, 2, the recipient for whom the message is intended. The full name of the individual or organization should be given. Giving the position is optional. However, bear in mind that you might not recognize the name Michael Packer, but if Rexburg Stake President is written in the position field, there will be no mistaking the destination of this message. Second, the from section. That's the party from whom the message originated. Again, include the full name of the individual or organization. 3, the subject. This one is rather self-explanatory. It should be a brief description of the topic of the message. 4, the date. This is the date on which the message was sent. It should be given in the format of month, day, year, with the month given by name, not by number. For example, August 6, 2025, not 8/6/2025. Number 5, the time. That's the time the message was sent in 24-hour time. During a local incident, local time is used. During a widespread incident, you should include the appropriate time zone, such as UTC, MST for Mountain Standard Time, MDT for Mountain Daylight Time. And 6 in the message, this is a detailed but concise message written clearly and legibly. Proceed to slide 5, where we are now looking at the middle of the form. Continuing, we see the following fields. 7, the signature. This is the signature or name and position of the person sending the message. This would be the stake president or bishop on whose behalf the message is sent. The ICS 213 is a legal document within the Incident Command System. The signature is an attestation that the content of the message is authorized by the originator, not just conveyed by the operator. Number 8, the reply. This area of the form is to be used by the person or organization receiving the message to compose a reply to the message that was sent. Please go to slide 6 where we see the bottom of the form. The remaining fields are 10, the date. That's the date on which the reply was recorded. It should also be given in the format of month, day, year, with the month given by name. 11, the time. That's the time the reply was recorded in 24-hour time. Once again, we would normally use local time here, but in the event of a widespread incident, we also want to include the time zone. And 12, signature and position. That would be the name and title of the person or organization replying to the original message. Filling out this form correctly ensures that the recipient knows all of the necessary details about from whom and where the message is coming and when it was sent. While relaying formal message traffic, there are several things that you want to make sure to. Please proceed to slide number 7 for a list. Here are the traffic message considerations. First, fill out all of the header information on the ICS 213 form using the prescribed formats which we just discussed. 2, speak clearly, slowly while relaying the message. Remember that the receiving party is trying to write down each word that you say. Pause long enough after each word to give them time to write that word. Make sure you enunciate each word clearly. I've heard some experienced operators say that they write the message as they are saying it so that they don't transmit faster than the message can be transcribed. 3, spell out unfamiliar words phonetically. Names of stakes and local cities are likely familiar to the receiving party, but names of people, streets, wards, technical or medical terms may not be familiar. When in doubt, spell these words out phonetically using the ITU phonetic alphabet. And by the way, I don't mean KG7INX. Sorry about that, Steve. This implies that you are familiar with the ITU phonetic alphabet. Using other phonetics may cause confusion on the part of the receiving party. Avoid non-standard phonetics. The proper way to spell a word phonetically is to first state the word followed by I spell and then spelling out the word. For example, if I were giving my name, and this is for Tami, I would say my name is Tami. I spell Tango Alpha Mike India. Grimmett, Golf Romeo India Mike, Mike Echo Tango Tango. 4, spell out numbers digit by digit. As with unfamiliar words, numbers can be heard or copied incorrectly. For example, the numbers 15 and 50 can sound remarkably alike. This is remedied by giving the individual digits of the number. First say figures, or I say, followed by the digits. For example, if I needed to relay the number 1754, I would say figures 1, 7, 5, 4. I have also heard pro words such as numbers, numerals, and digits used in place of the word figures. but the ARRL standard is figure. And as an additional note, the numbers 5 and 9 can sometimes sound very similar. You may want to go with 5 and 9er to make it perfectly clear. 5. Be specific and give appropriate details. Ensure that the message includes all of the information that the receiving party will need in order to respond appropriately. Now let's go to slide 8 for a list of things to avoid. Just as there's a list of things to do when sending formal messages, there's also a list of do nots. First of all, don't use radio jargon in a formal message. While other radio operators will likely know what these terms, the receiving party for whom the message is intended may not. To avoid confusion, use plain English when relaying messages. 2. Do not include any details unnecessary to the message. Extraneous information takes precious time to transmit without adding any value to the communication. Be concise. However, do not modify the message before you send it. 3. Do not give the names of casualties, injuries, etc. Remember that any person with a radio receiver can monitor our transmission, and in the event of an emergency, they most likely are. This can include individuals outside of the ERC, emergency service providers, and news organizations. To respect the privacy of individuals and families, we should refrain from giving names over the air whenever possible. 4. Do not give graphic descriptions. Again, since others may be listening to our transmission, we want to avoid giving any details that are violent or gory. That information is not necessary and may incite unnecessary panic or be misunderstood and inaccurately repeated. 5. Finally, as I mentioned previously, do not alter the message given by the originating party on the form. Remember that our role is that of a communicator, and we should not add to or delete from the message we are given to communicate. Read through the message before relaying it over the air, and if information seems to be missing, or if there are items that should be removed, discuss this with the originating party if possible. Otherwise, send it as you proceed. Slide 9. We're now going to provide 2 examples of passing formal message traffic. If you have 2 copies of the ICS 213 form handy, use those forms to copy the following items of traffic. If you don't have an ICS 213 form on hand, just copy the traffic on plain paper. And I'm filling in for myself on our demonstration tonight. So here's our traffic. Hopefully you have your paper and pencil ready to go. This is a training exercise. To the Welton Bishop Storehouse from the Discovery Base Stakes. Subject need medication. 8/6/25, 9:15 p.m. Grant Johnson is very sick and can't keep any food down. The doctor thinks he's an antibiotic. He is allergic to erythromycin, and the doctor here suggests administering ciprofloxacin instead. Please arrange to have some sent to the doctor's QTH at 2674 Larkspur Drive, just south of 5000S in Greenwater. Signed, President John Q. Smith. This is a training exercise. Okay, there were some problems with that, I readily admit. The message was relayed far too quickly. To give adequate time for the receiving station to copy each word. Also, the date and time format were missing details. They were not in 24-hour format, and they were missing the time zone. Details unnecessary to the transmission were given. The more words we say, the more the other person has to copy, and that uses up unnecessary time. The message mentioned the affected individual by name, which was also unnecessary, and including the extraneous information about which medication they were allergic to could cause some confusion if the message is not copied properly. Also, they did not relay a specific amount of the requested medication, something the doctor would surely have provided. Will the receiving party know what EH means? And how many of you are confident that any receiving operator could correctly spell the names of the medications or the street name was given? And finally, are you confident that you copied down the correct numerical address? Due to these issues, it is likely that several additional transmissions will need to be made to confirm that the important parts of the message were received. Okay, let's have the second example. Stand by with your ICS 213 or paper and pencil. This is a training exercise. 2. The Welton Bishop Storehouse from the Discovery Bay Stake. Subject, need medication. Date, August 6, 2025. Time, 2115 M, I say 2115 Mike Delta Bingo. The doctor here is requesting 20 figures 20. Tablets of 500 figures 500 milligrams of ciprofloxacin. I spell Charlie, India, Papa, Romeo, Oscar, Foxtrot, Lima, Oscar, X-ray, Alpha, Charlie, India, November. Please arrange a delivery to figures 2674 Larkspur. I spell Lima, Alpha, Romeo, Kilo, Sierra, Papa, Uniform, Romeo, Drive in Greenwater as soon as possible. Signed, President John Q. Smith. End of message. Do you copy? This is a training exercise. Okay, you may have noticed that both of these transmissions were requesting the same item for the same individual. Let's consider ways in which this traffic was an improvement over the previous examples. First, the message was relayed at a slower pace, hopefully slow enough for you to copy it down. Which of the two were you able to copy better? Also, the message, which included all of the important information, was short and to the point and did not mention names. Specific critical details were given, such as the dosage and amount of medication. The name of the medication was spelled out phonetically, as was the street name in the address. This ensures that the receiving station has copied them correctly, or at least increases the chances. The names of the cities, states, and people were not spelled out phonetically, as the receiving party is most likely familiar with them. Numbers were also given as individual digits, ensuring that they are copied correctly. This could be particularly critical when passing the medication dosage. Consider practicing the proper passing of formal message traffic as a regular part of your stake nets. The ability to correctly and efficiently pass formal message traffic is a skill that can be learned easily with a little practice. Developing this skill as part of our training will provide confidence and efficiency in the event of an actual emergency. Are there any questions or comments or observations about the training this evening?
Kilo, India 7, India, Quebec, Kilo.
IQK, go ahead.
So, whenever I hear conflicting instructions, I like to know a priority. The conflicting instruction here is avoid using names of individuals or graphic descriptions and transmit the message exactly as given. And I know ideally the message generator would be there present and you could coach them, but you said if they're not, read it as given. So I'm taking it, that means if the message sender used names and graphic descriptions, we do those despite the counter instruction.
Well, that's a good point. You did notice that there was a suggestion that you read over the message before transmitting it, and if you notice any of these elements, go over it with the originator of the message and explain why they may wish to change some of the details. Again, if they feel like what they've written is necessary, then you go ahead. So that would be my response. Thanks for that question. Did that help, Bryce?
Yeah, I was referring specifically to the case where you're handed a piece of paper that originated someplace distant, and so the sender is not available to counsel with.
Well, good question. Is there someone on the net who would like to address that question? Bryce, I'm pretty sure you'd go with what you were handed in that case, so thanks for that. Any other comments? All right. To summarize, remember the following important principles. On slide 10, please go to slide 10. These important principles relative to formal message traffic. First of all, have a supply of ICS 213 forms and be familiar with them. Know the appropriate formats for the fields on the form. Speak slowly and clearly, spelling out words and numbers when appropriate. Avoid using jargon and avoid using names of individuals or graphic descriptions. Thank you, everyone, for participating tonight. This is KF7BRO, and I will hand the net back to myself. Is there any additional traffic or system business for the ERC net tonight?
KC7IHV.
KC7IHV.
Yes, going back to the comment about what you can send and what you cannot send, it's illegal for us to send anything that has a name or, graphic images, things like that there. We can get in a lot of trouble by doing that, and it's against FCC rules, so we just avoid that. And besides that, I think we can do our business without having to send that information. If it does need to be sent, that's something that an officer could send, possibly in an encrypted manner, but he can't send it out over the air. This is KC7IHV. I do have another comment, too, when you're done.
Thanks for clarifying that, Steve. Go ahead with your second comment.
First time I got hit in an exercise was somebody said, "This is King 4, Mom's apple pie. Go ahead."
Yeah, I would agree 100%. While you may be able to think up a cute word that starts with the letter you're trying to convey, you will definitely blow the mind of the person who's trying to write it down. Been there and done that. Hence my jab at the KV7ITU, who does a great job of that. Thanks for that, Steve. Any follow-up?
Bravo 7 Hotel, Tango Hotel.
I'm mobile, that's why I wasn't able to get in. If you're working with civil authorities or other organizations, you'll probably be writing this down on something that's got triplet or quad papers. We used to call them carbon copies, but there's like 3, some of them are 4, some of them are 5 deep, because some go to finance, some go to, just various parts throughout an organization when that information is transferred from one place to another on a 213 and on some of the other forms. So that's all of my input. This is KC7IHV, and I'll be monitoring.
Okay, thanks so much. Really appreciate that, Steve. Now, HTH had a comment.
This is Kilo Bravo 7 Hotel, Tango Hotel. That is why we're asked to, at all times on the radio, phonetically give our call sign a lot that way.
Explain a little more, please.
Oh, one thing is, if we give our call sign phonetically, we will know that alphabet phonetically, and also, especially if we're net control operators, we can have the opportunity to use all the other letters and be able to be clear on who we're talking with and get the message across. Over.
100%. Thank you for that comment. This is something that we should all be practicing and brushing up on at all times. We've actually had a complaint that using phonetics slows down the communication. Well, it may, but it certainly increases the accuracy. So thanks for the reminder. All right. We have been here a long time tonight. Thank you for Tami for preparing the slides and the training tonight, KG7INX. And thanks to everyone for your participation in this evening's net. The Emergency Response Communications Net is now closed and all stations are released.